coffee. Today I have another battle video for you. If you're new to my battles, I will have all of my past battles linked in the down bar. Basically I take 5 of the same kind of product and I battle them out for you. Today we are battling out foundation sponges. Quickly, if you don't know what a foundation sponge is, I'm gonna give you a little foundation sponge 101. If you already know what one is and you're like, Callie, I've used one of those, I just wanna know which one's the best, then you can go ahead and fast forward to this time right here. So a foundation sponge is really what it sounds like. It's a makeup sponge that you use to apply liquid foundation, or in some cases you can use it for powder foundation as well. It's something that you use wet. If you've been using one of these dry, you've been using it wrong. So really why I like using them, and they're my favorite form of putting on liquid foundation, is because I think it gives you the most sort of flawless airbrushed look. The con about these are that they're slightly harder to maintain than maybe using a makeup brush. You have to wash one of these after every single use, and because you're getting it wet, storing it is a little bit harder. So in general, when you're looking for a good foundation sponge, you're looking for one that when it gets wet, it almost doubles in size, because that means it's nice and porous. You're also looking for one that's pretty soft. Some of them are much too hard. Alright, so let's talk about what sponges we are going to battle out today. Of course we have the Beauty Blender, which in my opinion was sort of like the hallmark of makeup sponges. Next we have the Bella Beauty. This is one that I hear a lot of people talk about. You can get these at Marshall's, at TJ Maxx. The next one I have is, I believe it's by the company Wellness. It's that brand that you can only get at Rite Aid, so it's basically the Rite Aid brand makeup sponge. Then I have the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. And lastly, I have the good old-fashioned cosmetic wedge. You buy them in a big, huge bag like this. So in order to battle these out in a way that I can really test them and sort of see the best application of them, I've actually bought a foundation that's much darker than my natural skin, so we can really see like how blendable and how flawless and how airbrushed of a look we can get. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into this battle of the foundation sponges, round 1. Alright, first up, let's start with one of the most famous of the foundation sponges, the Beauty Blender. This costs about $20. It is rounded at one end and tapered at the other, and has a soft, porous texture. You get a really nice, even application with the sponge, as long as it's still fairly new. My only complaint about these sponges is they seem to wear out somewhat quickly compared to the other sponges. I've owned quite a few of these, and they all started to stop working as well only after about a month of using. But overall, the application you get is really pretty good. Next up, we will try the Rite Aid foundation sponge. This one costs about $3.99. This sponge is honestly just way too hard. It isn't porous at all and stays the same size and hardness even when wet. This makes application less than stellar, as you're left with something that looks a little bit more like sponge painting. Not to mention, it's so small it would take you forever to blend in all of your foundation. Our next contender into the ring is the Bella Beauty Foundation Sponge. These are available, like I said, at Marshall's and TJ Maxx, and I got this one for $4. For texture, this sponge is somewhat between the Beauty Blender and the Rite Aid one, but it actually grows the most when wet, getting well over double the size. For application, it's right in the middle. It's not totally perfect, but it's not really that bad. I've used one of these Bella Beauty sponges consistently for many months in a row, and I liked it just fine. Its only big downfall for me is I don't find it soft enough for under-eye concealer application. Our fourth sponge to battle will be the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. This costs $7. This sponge has a flat side and a pointed side, and it's that just right soft texture when wet. Its large flat side makes it perfect for all over foundation application, while the pointed side is great for under eyes. I find that it gives a really nice, even application that looks airbrushed and flawless. And last but possibly not least is the original Cosmetic Sponge. This was 15 widgets. It's from the brand Beauty 360. I got it from CVS for $3.50. These come in a standard triangle shape and are definitely on the softer size, and they do grow a little bit when wet. For application, I was actually pleasantly surprised to see that it gave me a really nice, even application. While the fact that you're going to have to throw it away after every single use is kind of a bummer, the actual application that you get is really not that bad. Guys, so that was all 5 of these sponges duking it out in the ring, and I have to say I'm somewhat surprised with the results. So the first one to definitely like just go forever is the one from Rite Aid. This is just gonna end up as like a dog chew toy or something. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. Okay, of the further left, to be honest. None of them are necessarily super bad, but if I had to say my two favorite as far as the application that I got when I was testing them, it would have to be the Real Techniques and the good old-fashioned Cosmetic Wedge, surprisingly. And I think, honestly, some of it has to do with the fact that they both have flat edges. So between the Real Techniques and the Cosmetic Wedge, I would still pick the Real Techniques. The Cosmetic Wedge, I find, actually wastes a little bit more products. It actually like sucks up more of your foundation, so you're losing a lot more foundation application, which is kind of irritating. So I guess if I had to pick the overall winner, I'm gonna go with the Real Techniques Miracle Foundation Application. Complexion. Miracle something. The Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. As always with my battles, as I tell you guys, my winners are not always necessarily your winners. Let me know in the comments down below which foundation sponge you love and you use and how come you love it. But that does it for today's battle. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. If this is your first time to my channel, I hope that you'll hit that subscribe button down below so that you don't miss any more of my videos. And until next time, I will see you all in my next video. It's something that you use wet, so you get one of these. So you need to stick one of these underneath your faucet for about 15 seconds and make sure it's completely wet all the way through, and then wring out any of the excess. If you've been using one of these dry, you've been using it wrong.